Alright, yeah, and welcome back to some more Magic Arena, and it's been a while, chat. It's been a while, and I don't know if you can maybe tell, but if you haven't seen my posts on Twitter and the community tab, I lost my voice a couple of days ago, and you could probably tell, still not quite back. But it's been too long since I made a video, and I felt like my voice was mostly back to the point where I could at least make a little short video for you guys, so I'm going to do that. I don't want to be overdoing it today, so it is going to be a short video, but you know, hopefully you guys enjoy it all the same. Ooh, we've got some money. Let's open some packs, shall we, before we get into the stuff. Hopefully you guys like 2-pack opening videos. Wowie, I know, right? Let's open some Theros. So yeah, ooh, Atris. That's a interesting one. I think that's my 4th. Which is obviously, when it comes to legendary cards, not really a good pull. And that's the worst card in the set, so, you know, it is what it is. Alright, today we're going to be playing a Dance of the Manse deck. And this one's seen a fair few changes with Theros Beyond Death, so we're going to go through most of them. The general idea of the deck is to play lots of enchantments and permanents, essentially, that you can then return with Dance of the Manse. White and blue for an X, return up to X, target artifacts and non-aura enchantment cards with converted mana cost X or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. If X is 6 or more, then this essentially becomes a win con, because those permanents are now 4/4 creatures in addition to their other types. So the idea is that you stacks your opponent by removing their permanents while adding stuff to yours. So it's almost a tempo deck in that sense. I think it's literally a tempo deck, or is it a combo deck? It's hard to tell these days. They kind of mash between themselves. So, the cards that are most useful here are going to be Doom Foretold. A 4-mana enchantment says at the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player sacrifices a non-land, non-token permanent, and if they can't, they discard a card. They lose 2 life, you draw a card, you gain 2 life, and you make a 2/2. So there's a really huge tempo swing there if you can remove all of your opponent's permanents. We can do that a number of ways. We can use it by killing all creatures with Kaya's Wraths. We have Banishing Lights from Theros Beyond Death, which are exile any non-land permanent, which is really good if our opponent has 1 permanent. Excuse me. Then we can Banishing Light it, trigger our Doom Foretold, which gets rid of our Doom Foretold, which means our Banishing Light stays in play. Or we can sacrifice our Banishing Lights with something underneath them. Either if it got rid of a token, then it's got nothing underneath it. Or if it's got something like a Hydroid Krasis, then it has a 0/0 underneath it. Or if our opponent has no permanents, we can use it as a value play to keep our opponent from not playing permanents, because that's one way to play around Doom Foretold, is to do nothing. Essentially, it's not a great way to do it, but it's one way to do it. We can sacrifice our Banishing Light to give them something to sacrifice to Doom Foretold, which keeps the train going, keeps the Doom Foretold in play for an extra turn, and stalls the game out a little bit longer that way. We got Treacherous Blessing as well, which is a great card for Doom Foretold. It's not entirely necessary in the deck. It is a little bit of a high-value win-more-ish kind of card. 3 mana, essentially, draw 3. The downside is whenever we cast spells, we lose 1 life. However, when it becomes the target of a spell or ability, we sacrifice it. So we can sacrifice it to Doom Foretold, so we have to get around the downside that way. We can also use the Teferi -3 to try and bounce it. When we do bounce it, it is going to sacrifice itself. So that's one way to do it as well. So there's a lot of ways to get rid of this, and it's basically just a 3 mana draw 3, which is awesome. It's pretty good. It's Painful Truths without the pain. Ugh, I'm in a lot of pain. Sorry, guys. We also have the Birth of Meletis, Minimize Prophecy, and Omen of the Sea. So Birth of Meletis is a little bit of a card thinner. It's also a life gain game staller. So Chapter 1 gets us a Plains. We don't really want too many Plains, so we've only got 4 in here. 1 for each of the Birth of Meletis, so if you're going to bring them back with Dance of the Manse, they're not going to get Chapter 1 value. It is what it is. It's not that bad. Chapter 2 is a great aggro staller, because it gives us a 0/4, which needs answering. So either Lava Coils or big creatures at that point, whichever one comes first. And if our opponent can't get through, then obviously we're going to be permanently stalling damage out of the way, and we also gain 2 life off of the Chapter 3, putting it into our graveyard, which is really important, because we want to fill our graveyard for Dance of the Manse. So the fact that these things kill themselves is very good. Minimize Prophecy allows us to do Some pretty interesting stuff. We get to scry to find the answers we need, so our Kaya's Wraths are very important in creature matchups. We want to be finding them, so that's one way we can do it. Chapter 2, we can choose a card name, which comes in effect for Chapter 3, which is when we play the card with that chosen name, we draw 2 cards. So we can either use Chapter 2 to bamboozle our opponent by naming a card we don't have, so that they play around it. So we can name Kaya's Wrath, hoping we draw Kaya's Wrath. Whether we play it or not is not entirely relevant, because our opponent will play around a Wrath if we name a Wrath. So they'll slow down, which is what we want them to do. However, if we can time it out, we can draw a card. Chapter 4, it's pretty crappy. It's the worst part of the card, honestly. But all of these can be bounced with Teferi to be reset as well, which is nice. Omen of the Sea is 2 mana preordained on an enchantment. Scry 2 and then draw a card. Speaks for itself. And then we got Glass Casket as well. Get rid of a creature with converting mana cost 3 or less. It's really good for the early game, which I think is something that we somewhat struggle with. We want to be able to stall this game out for as long as possible. So that's as much as I'm going to go into the deck with this one. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. There's going to be 2 games this time. They're interesting games, but they might be a little bit short, so I do apologise for that, but as you can maybe tell, my voice is going again. It's in a lot of pain, and I've coughed about 6 times during this deck tech, so hopefully you guys enjoy. It's going to be a short one. Hopefully I'm back to full strength tomorrow. I'm not entirely sure. I might have to take another day, though, judging by this recording session. So make sure to like and subscribe, all that jazz, and I'll be back as soon as I really can. So take care, guys. Alright, we're in. We've got some card advantage engines. We don't have a white source for Doom Foretold, but I think this is fine. Oh boy. White source, please. We do have a decent early game if we can draw white mana. Got Glass Casket on most of their deck. Oath of Kyra on most of their deck. We just need to find it, which is exactly what we're not going to do. Alright. Gonna flash in Omen of the Sea. Look for that white source. Taking a lot of damage here, though. There's a Krenko, alright. See, our opponent is a man of culture. There's a Plains. Don't think we care about the Prophecy. If anything, we'd just want more useful mana. So let's Oath of Kaya, kill Krenko before that gets out of hand. Let's see where we go from there. The island's really stopping us with this Kaya's Wrath, to be honest. But we do get to Doom Foretold at the very least. And start working down our opponent's permanents. They get free Grim Initiate. Turn a 1-1 into a 1-1. But white source off the top and we just wrath the whole board. So hopefully we can do that. This is where they Torbran us if they've got it. They do not have it. They do, however, have an absurd amount of damage. Wow. Opponent's running Barge in. That puts us dead to a hell of a lot of things. We're going to go with the Oath of Kaya. Oh god, we've got to go to 1 in order to Kaya's Wrath. Puts us dead to Fervent Champion. I mean, do we have a choice? We can Casket the Scorch Spitter. But literally we're just dead to a Castle Embereth. We don't have a choice. We Wrath and see what happens. Oh, we do get some life here. As long as they don't have Shock in hand. Hang on a second, couldn't they have just killed us there? Oh, the Shame Scoop. Oh, the actual Shame Scoop. Oh, it's a thing of beauty. It's a thing of pure beauty. They could have just stomped us on upkeep, but I don't know, maybe they didn't. I don't know. Maybe it auto-resolved and took it from them. I don't know. I feel like you just put an upkeep stop to be safe there, but yeah, they had the win there. But screw you, Red. I win. Alright, we're in. And the mana base looks good. The hand looks fine. We're going to keep it. Could use some removal, but we've got Metamized Prophecy to hopefully make this okay. Water Grave. And Leafkin Druid for our opponent. That definitely needs a Glass Casket in. Probably up against a ramp deck of sorts, so getting rid of the ramp sources for not an early game Nissa seemed like a good idea. Really could use an Oath of Kaya here. Banishing Light could be okay. I just wonder whether or not we want Banishing Light for Nissa, but cross that bridge when we get to it, I suppose. Let's get rid of Risen Reef. We really don't want our opponent ramping up anymore, so let's get rid of all of that nonsense. Make them play on our terms. Okay. Well, it's an awkward Doom Foretold, but I think it's a Doom Foretold we have to take. So let's get it going. The problem is that we sack either Glass Casket or Banishing Light and we give them something back. But if we don't do that, then they have the turn an early Nissa, essentially. If they don't have any lands, that's also going to be good for us. Alright, so let's see what they can play. If they can play something that's not a ramp source. Uro, okay. Well, what we get to do here, they've got no lands. That's good. What we get to do here is give them back a Leafkin Druid, which we know that they're going to have to sacrifice on their turn. And then we can just start shoving down enchantments, which we can use ourselves to do some... I really buggered this one up, didn't I, because of the Birth of Meletus and the Omen of the Sea. I'm an idiot. Glass Casket we're not going to need. I'm just going to take Metamized Prophecy. Sorry, I haven't really magicked in a while, so forgive me. Alright. Yeah, sequencing all wrong on that one. Obviously, I ruined my scry if I start searching. So opponent upkeeps, loses their mana, so they had no plan for it. They were just planning on floating, I guess. We're going to do Omen of the Sea, though. It just gives us something that doesn't actually do something to sack to the Doom Foretold. As Growth Spiral, I think their plan here is to actually just not play anything so that we don't Doom Foretold anymore. We don't want the land. I guess we want the Metamized Prophecy. Alright, we're going to sack the Omen of the Sea. Could sack the Banishing Light to give them back Risen Reef, but I think it's just too much ETB value. Let's name... I think we want to name Metamized Prophecy. And just play the other one next turn. Let's just do like double Birth of Meletus. Thin out the deck. There's 2 planes in there, perfect. There we go. Alright, the deck is nicely thinned. We're going to hold this Prophecy because it's going to draw us 2 cards next turn. Our opponent's going to be discarding. We're going to be drawing. It's for Shifting Ceratops, which is actually not that amazing against us. It's pretty good. I mean, none of our normal target removal other than Banishing Light is going to do it. The protection from blue is just only going to stop Teferi Time Raveler, I think. And that's it. Alright, 6 mana. Biogenic Ooze. Okay. Well, we got Oath of Kaya to get rid of the Ooze creature. And we got lots of blockers as well. So let's play Metamized Prophecy to draw some cards. See what we draw first. loads of lands. You'd love to see it. That glass casket does get rid of a token. It's a 3/3 token. It's not really doing us any harm though, to be honest, so let's just go get something better. And let's Oath of Kaya the Biogenic Ooze. And we'll just take this opportunity, even though we have a revealed plains in our hands, we'll take the opportunity to just play some of these tap lands down. We're going to be gaining 4 life. We're going to see what's on top of our opponent's library and on top of our own, so we can use that to name a card with Metamized Prophecy. Is it going to be Nyx Bloom Ancient, or is it going to be Hydroid Krasis? Looks like Hydroid Krasis. It's an X6. Which is fine for now. I feel this game getting a little bit away from us though, if I'm honest. They're counting things. They only have 1 blue mana. So I don't actually know what they've got here. What's Uro looking like? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 other cards. Yeah, they can do an Uro next turn. Well then. Gain 2, gain 2. I sequenced these all wrong. Gods. I thought they were in the right order when I looked at it. Choose a card name. Well, let's name... What would we like to see? Let's name a 4 of in our deck. We don't really have one except for Kaya's Wrath, and I don't really plan on using it. Let's name Omen of the Sea instead. It's Doom Foretold. It is a good card to have, though. Gets rid of the Hydroid Krasis. Again, I think we're just going to play some tap lands. Pass the turn. Take our opponent's Hydroid Krasis from them. We've got Oath of Kaya to sacrifice. We know we're not getting Metamized Prophecy value because I sequenced it wrong, otherwise we would have been drawing off of there, so... Bear in mind, when we lose, we could have had 2 more cards in our hand. Opponent shocks in their tap land. Okay, they've got all the mana in the world. They've got an Uro, which is not going to die immediately, but Doom Foretold's going to make that a little bit of a mockery. Alright, let's go with Oath of Kaya. And play Doom Foretold. Yeah, I really wish I'd have looked at the sequence there. It's a shame I didn't. Alright, so they get rid of 2 non-token permanents, which is the 2 Risen Reefs. Looks like they were hovering their Ooze token to try and sack that instead, but that's not how that works. So I really need a good card off the top. It's very important I get a good card, because I think... Am I giving them Risen Reef back? I feel so bad. I need a permanent though, it's really important. So get rid of Metamized Prophecy, it's done its job. I think I'm giving them a Banishing Light back. Just have your Risen Reef. I need a good card here. If it's a land, I'm actually cursed. Teferi Timebender. Alright. So I think we use that to bounce Doom Foretold, since we can just replay it.
Don't worry, I got it.
Birth of Meletus. Chapter 1 doesn't do anything. To play Plains though, we get to Doom Foretold. One goes off, getting rid of the Risen Reef. The other one goes off, making our opponent discard and giving us a token. And then we've got the Metamized Prophecy to keep the other Doom Foretold in play. Gets rid of a land. Ooh, Teferi Time Raveler. I mean, we could get rid of Teferi now that we've got a spare one. can bounce the 3/3 token and maybe get in, but I imagine they've got some big creature here. It's hard to imagine that they don't. They've got nothing. I don't believe that. I don't believe that at all. Alright, let's get rid of this Teferi since we have the spare. Alright, Temple. Show me something good. Dance of the Manse would be great. Glass Casket would be garbage. So we're going to get rid of the token. Doom Foretold can't get rid of the token anyway.
I'll show restraint.
So we're going to get rid of it that way. Kaya's Wrath's okay, but not great. Our board state's already set up to deal with it just fine. And we don't have flash creatures to worry about, even though this doesn't look like a flash deck at all, since we got Teferi around, making our opponent play at Hearthstone speed. Alright, one top, one bottom. Opponent discards. Let's rid of a land. Yeah, looks like they're flooded. But so are we. So how many things have we got in here now? We've got 12 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 11 of them are actually things that we can get back with Dance of the Manse. And we've actually got an X, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So if we get a Dance of the Manse, we're probably going to win. Because we get X, our entire graveyard's worth of enchantments out of the yard. Hydroid Chris is X12. If they don't have something now, they'll never have anything. We need a good card off the top. Glass Casket's probably honestly fine at this stage. It's not very high impact, but still. Omen of the Sea. Alright, the Scry is going to be very useful here. I'm going to do it main phase because I actually want good cards. I guess I'll just take another Omen of the Sea. Treacherous Blessing. Let's draw 3. It's kind of what you want. And then we got the Oath of Kaya. Alright.
I'll protect you.
So I think we are going to Kaya's Wrath. So let's get in. Are we going to Kaya's Wrath? Do we need to Kaya's Wrath? We don't really need to. We can just scry with Omen of the Sea instead. We're going to lose out to Teferi though, but I don't think that's a big problem. We've got 4 mana. These cost 3 to sack, so let's just do Hallowed Fountain tapped and say go. Save our Oath of Kaya for a thing that we can maybe actually kill. Unlikely, but you never know. Nissa, yep. So we can kill lands with Oath of Kaya. And our opponent can't use those lands to hurt us because we have our 0/4s, so it's really nicely positioned. Is Birth of Meletus right here. I think this is going to be... feels like Huge Crisis or something. Which is fine by me. I mean, if we're going to deck them, that's also fine. This can only be on creatures. We also have the instant speed Kaya's Wrath as well, so... actually, the more they commit here, the more amusing this becomes. Forgot about the instant speed part of Teferi here. It's very relevant though. Yeah, Cavalier can do his thing. I mean, there's nothing in there we really care about. Just let them do their thing. It's decking themselves at the end of the day. It's a Hydroid Crisis, another Cavalier. We've got spare Kaya's Wrath, so it's fine. Cavalier, mill them. Yeah, I think we're going on the mill them plan. A lot of their cards seem to be very much put cards into the graveyard centric here. If they want Cavaliers, they're going to have to lose 5 cards. If they want Hydroid Crisis, they're going to have to lose a certain amount of cards. Uro draws them a card. It is a recurable threat for sure that Kaya's Wrath can't really deal with over the long term, but this is totally fine. I'm happy with them having loads of stuff. The only thing they could really have is, what is it, Thassa's thing, the 2 blue devotion dude. I don't think they're going to have it in this deck though. Coming at my face, I'm fine with that. I will take 12. Thought they were going after Teferi. If they were, I was probably going to Wrath. But they didn't, so we're not. Banishing Light. I think we can do better. Also, let me get an upkeep stop so I can sack the other Omen of the Sea. We are due a Dance of the Manse here, so I'm just going to dig for it. There it is. We could go Treacherous Blessing, draw 3 first. Lose 2. Yeah, we can afford to wait, I think. So we have the instant speed Wrath anyway. So go to main. We're going to lose 1 life off the Treacherous Blessing. Draw 3, which includes our Dance. Tick up to Fairy for the instant speed board wipe. And then Temple of Deceit, bottom anything that isn't amazing. From here, you could Oath of Kaya. I don't think we need to though. I think this Wrath is just protection enough. So we're just going to pass. I have a hard time seeing them do anything that a Wrath can't solve. Short of, as I mentioned, Thassa's Oracle, or whatever it is. 2 blue. If you hit the bottom of your deck, you win that card. They've got 9 cards left, so... Now they got 8 cards. Life total is irrelevant. Mm-hmm. Four creature mana left. It's like the scariest card by far is Finale, but it requires combat damage through creatures and indestructibility to get around this Kaya's Wrath. It's really just not going to happen. I guess if they've got a way to shuffle their graveyard, because they are eyeing it up after all. They're just going to go with another Uro. Okay, so Legend Rule Uro. Draw another card. We got 7 left. They're either not taking into account Kaya's Wrath, or they know that they can't play around it. But not committing overly into this board state is how you play around Kaya's Wrath, and they're definitely doing that. I want to see another Nissa tick up so we can kill a land. Not that it really matters. Yeah, they got 5 cards left. There's pretty much nothing they can play here. There's nothing in their yard that wins them the game if we kill Cavalier. Especially with 3 turns of Wrathing and 5 cards left.
Harness the elements.
And every single one of their threats mills, basically. There's Enray's Foreigners. Alright, we knew it was coming. Yep, they gain trample and whatnot. Kill you. You take 2. Yeah, I don't know if they were what they were thinking. Good game. Yeah. So they get 2 cards of whatever they want, but it's never good enough. I guess Cavalier gives them an extra couple of draws, right? But anything they put into play is going to be dwarfed by the Doom Foretold's. We're going to be maxing out this Doom Foretold, so let's find out before we have to do it. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 for Dance of the Manse. X12 Dance and just try and get as much as we can. Alright, so they put Foreigners on top and that's it. Probably passing the turn. unless they want to commit something else. We're going to lose 2 for dancing. We could minus to fairy, so we only take 1, but at 22 life, I don't think that's really an issue. What did we say for dance? I think we said 12. Yeah, opponent's not going to let us do it. There's no reason for them to wait on us to do it. We're just going to be able to Doom Foretold and kill all their permanents. And then Wrath and whatnot. So, yeah, pretty good. Pretty good. Alright guys, well that's going to do it for today because I can feel my throat really, really struggling. It quite hurts, to be honest. So, I don't know if I'll be back tomorrow. I hopefully will be. But this was more of a trial period kind of thing. So, I'm glad we got a long game in at the very least. But, yeah, my throat's not quite healed at the moment. So, might rest it for another day. I'm not entirely sure. We'll see. But thanks very much for watching anyway. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. It really helps out the channel a great deal, especially after the downtime. I imagine my views are going to be a bit low because YouTube doesn't like you taking breaks, and this was a mandatory break, unfortunately. So, yeah, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, leave a comment, all that jazz. It really helps out a great deal. And I'll see you all hopefully tomorrow, if not the day after. Take care.